Hey team, how are we going? We've got the 5 minute countdown just to give people enough time to finish off eating their Brussels sprouts, put their tubes away as to not make others jealous, and get ready for the jealousy stream as we outline to you exactly, why Kaz is jealous of the new modern graduating infantry soldier in the future, but not the one yet. I'll get to that in a moment. Got a couple of other surprises right here beside me, and I look forward to showing them to you. I've only just dropped my little girl off, and luck we put some work in earlier on. So we're kind of ready for the stream. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know that the voice is A-OK. Carl P is here. Dave D, we're lucky to have him.
Indeed, he's in his underpants at the moment.
I wish I had pants. Did anyone see me in the Olympics today? I'm in an event you may not have ever heard about, don't worry.
What is it?
Nothing, no. I don't want to gloat.
You can't just say that. You can't just leave that hanging out there like that.
I've just got back from Tokyo.
Have you? What? So what are you doing?
No.
Synchronized swimming?
No. That's not an event. That is for the people who had absolutely no chance of going to the Olympics for anything else. Let's create something.
That's my favourite event.
That's not sports. Look how she pivots on her toe. It's easy when there's no gravity. You're in the water.
You try that next time you're at the pool, and it won't be so easy. You try it.
I won't even wear a pink, yellow, or light blue shirt.
You need to wear one of those little nose pinchers that they wear.
Nope. Could you imagine how big that peg would have to be for my nose?
Come on now.
G'day, lovely Kane. How you going, mate? Jay Hayes, West Side.
Yeah. Nicole King says she just went and got a bag of tubes, especially for the stream, to open them and eat.
Yep, I've only got like 4 packets left of the 8 that I picked up, and I'm going to go and do a mercy run tomorrow like this guy on the bottom of the screen at the moment.
Yeah.
Foxhound all the way.
I never get sick of Lady Driver.
Do you know what one thing I really want to talk to everyone about, but I really don't have the authority to do it, but at the same time you can change lives.
What? Should you or shouldn't you?
You know that saying when something good is happening and you've got to say, but I am not a financial advisor.
Yeah, well, you can as long as you put that disclaimer in, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just a bush lawyer, though, so I wouldn't take my advice.
Let's just say my daughter's future's looking better and better by the week.
That's so great.
With the money I can't spend on myself.
Look.
If I could change anything about myself, I'd come back selfish.
That's funny. Any money you spend on her is spent on yourself.
Sure.
Yeah.
She resents the very presence.
Oh, come on. Poor old David Penson is in so far in lockdown, he's got police on the end of his street.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's bad. They can only go shopping twice a week.
Wow.
One person from each household, and you've got to have your papers ready. Yikes.
You're in goddamn Vietnam.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And yeah, crazy.
Wow. We've got some crazy stuff happening here. We've got the government in Australia, Dave Penson, telling us to go and get your vaccine, go and get your vaccine, stop not going and getting your vaccine.
Yeah.
But guess what happens when you go to the doctor?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? There's no vaccines, bro. Come back at the end of next week. You can't even make an appointment. It's like, what is this vaccine you speak of?
Yep. Hi, JP.
JP, single shot.
Yep, he's here. I have to say something, Kaz.
Yep.
My name's Lauren. I've got an embarrassing friend, and I'm sorry about it, Kaz.
Who is it?
That's all I have to say about it.
Okay.
Okay, you know.
A sportsman?
I'm not going to tease you about your Brussels sprouts or anything like that because you have one over on me now.
I do.
Okay.
A stuntman.
That's exactly right. So we're just going to, I'm not even going to say, you take your time with those sprouts, okay?
Hey, Jado, at the School of Infantry. How you going, mate? Give us a bit of a heads up. How many are in Gallipoli platoon at the moment, mate? Make sure you don't let us know your full name. The dentist doesn't want to show his face on camera.
Yeah, Kane reckons he's not getting the jab.
Out here for you.
You know, we can say it at the moment, but eventually it's going to get harder and harder for us.
You might have to.
We choose
That's right,
truth
especially if you're
over
receiving
facts.
anything from the government. You may have to.
Yeah, otherwise it'd be a shitty mess like this in the background that I've got here. So,
Yeah.
guys, gals, welcome to Australia. Welcome to the trenches, which is all in the background here. And I'm here to tell you today, we're making a video today about the absolute jealousy that Kaz has for the modern 343, ECN 343, employment categorization, category number for those that are going to go to infantry, because you may very well never sweat again. Imagine getting into a vehicle, one of the newest two vehicles to be chosen, the Lynx or the, what's it called? Rheinmetall, whatever it is. Okay, Redback, the Lynx or the Redback, and then you get told, okay, get in the vehicle, suck it on diesel, so you don't need to smoke anymore. Your food is there, your pack is carried. You're in a bucket seat, falling asleep even before you got past Kentucky, Laverick Barracks. You'd be a fool to go anywhere else. And then you end up at high range, get a bit of motion sickness going up the escarpment. And then you get told, get out, go into a harbour drill, break left, break right, split, go to sleep, do a picket. Oh, I couldn't sleep anyway. I slept all day in the vehicle. Defile drill occasionally, maybe only a brick per vehicle. Fantastic. It's an armoured ambulance. It provides protection. It has firepower, lethality, survivability, manoeuvrability. It's got everything. I've got a video on here now. I'm about to put on soon. But there's bad news. And I'll get to that in a moment. Some of you guys are looking forward to getting in there. Guess what? I'm getting into that in a minute too.
Oh.
So approximately 150 in holding platoon in the School of Infantry at the moment, raising Monday, and then Capyong 2 weeks after. Okay, so out of the 150, you're going to take about 100. If you're looking around 100, are going to go into these unless they overfill them, of the most qualified people in the BFA, the Basic Fitness Assessment, to meet the occupational health and safety requirements of IETs, initial employment trainees, you know, that are now joined at the hip, made new alliances after getting out of Kapuka, and they're going to do that session. So that leaves potentially 50 or more, okay, that will be waiting in the wings while still getting more reinforcements from Kapuka that may or may not be ready to be their friend, ready to go into session. Do your push-ups in your own time. Get it done. Do the work early. And you may be the one that goes, slide straight through Roger Ramjet all the way. Mr. P, the good-looking Mr. P.
He is. We don't really know what he looks like. He's a mystery man, but he's a good-looking typer.
He is. He's been there. He's done that.
Yeah, exactly.
Lauren, is there anything you want to say before we get into the stream as such?
Nope, not a thing. Hello, everybody.
How's your latest fan, Lauren?
How's my latest what?
Your latest fan.
Oh, I thought you were being cheeky.
Is it a Dyson?
I don't have a fan. I live in Tasmania.
Wakey Vids. Heard the PFA requirements may be lowered September. If they do, I will lose my shit. It could not get easier than what it is.
Yeah. Hey, Kirsten's here.
Hey, Kirsten Gillibrand. How you going, mate? Are you back with your little one at the moment?
It's been ages.
Yeah.
Hi, Simon.
Simon Powell.
Yep.
Open your mind.
The whole gang's here.
Who?
The whole gang.
I'm getting sweaty. I just got to wipe my brow with this.
Excited.
Wait a sec. This sponge that I got. That tube sponge.
Oh my gosh.
Lucky.
What the heck?
We've
You
only got a
actually
box
got
left.
a box? I thought you were joking.
Nah, put that one in your basic pouch and smoke it.
Did you?
Survival Man. Good to have you here, 343. Mr. Buckaroony. Have you got your grumpy pills today, Mr. P? There you go. We've got Rambo here too. Team, if you're watching right now wondering why you can't gob off, that's because you're not a subscriber. Subscribe right now. It costs nothing, which is still a lot if you're Jewish to pay, but that's okay.
Yikes.
Come in, subscribe, let us know how you're going.
Did you actually just go there?
Well, I've been to Israel. I loved the people while I was there. So it's not an
Okay.
insult. That's just us being fun. The Golden Moss. Hi, Kaz. I just wanted to say thanks for all your advice you provide on your channel. Helped a lot when preparing for a career in the ADF. Unforgettably, I was deemed class. Unfortunately, I was deemed class 4 unfit due to a hazelnut allergy.
Oh, what?
Just say I ain't got the nuts. It's
Yeah.
fine. What? I don't understand that at all. You can have the fitness, you can have the IQ, you can have the psychology, and you can go, you know what? I promise not to eat goddamn hazelnuts. I know I'm allergic. I told you, dickhead.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense when there's folks who have probably got bigger physical problems than that. Good grief. Well, anyway, it's nice to see you here because I don't think I've seen your name here before. So stick around anyway, Golden Moss. We'd be interested in your journey into whatever you do.
And you know what, Golden Moss? If you can't go in the military because you're Med Class 4, then that means it's up to us to help you with something else in life. So what else makes you happy?
Yep,
Let's look at your other options. Don't just slam the door and take up substance abuse or getting on the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah, exactly. There's heaps of other ways. And if it was serving Australia that you wanted to do, there's heaps of things you can do to serve Australia where you can not be around any hazelnuts.
You could go and be a paramedic. That way, if you do get nuts in your mouth,
You're
know,
in the
even
right
if there's
place.
someone else's nuts, then you can
Exactly.
use the EpiPen and you'll be fine.
Treat yourself. Yeah, I'm not sure if they should be treating themselves to medicine, but yeah, I get what you're saying. He's in the right place.
For those that don't know, Mr. Buckaroony is here. Mr. Buckaroony is here. He is the North Queensland streamer. Okay,
Yep.
he is a YouTuber. He was a cop. He was a prison guard. He was a soldier. He's
Yep.
done it all, and now he's a camping man. You know.
Yep,
And
exactly.
guess what he sent to me today?
I was going to say, you're going to tell everyone what you got in the mail today.
50 of them.
Yep.
Wait 2 seconds. Can we get Jay Hayes to go, what do you got, Kaz? Maybe
Yeah.
Carl P's wondering what I've got here too.
Somebody say, what do you got there, Kaz? Kaz, what do you got? We're so interested. What could it be?
It hasn't been run over, Mr. Buckaroony. Bam. We've got our channel football here. It's got In the Trenches with Kaz, the logo, etc. All that on there. It's got SMG. We'll call that the submachine gun for now. It's got Mr. Buckaroony sponsorship. It's got Crazy Dog canvases, etc. We've got 50 of these balls paid for by Patreon,
It looks great.
which is going to allow us to number these, sign these, and take them to communities where they don't have much sports equipment opportunity, or they've got too much time on their hands, which means they choose to smash windows instead. So we're going to give them an alternative. We're going to give them some balls, you know,
Yep, the only dose they'll be smashing is by accidentally with that footy.
and we can all handle that.
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
You know, good to see kids happy and outside. And Dave Penson, I'm telling you, mate, if we can get an address off you, I'll send some balls out of Vietnam,
Yep.
you know, and that way some of the kids over there, you know, have got something to play with there, and you can maybe show them how to pass a rugby league ball.
Nicole L is here and she's admiring your balls.
Thank you, Nicole. I've shaved them all.
No, come on.
They're numbered.
You
They've
know
got
what-
50 of them.
You know what we meant.
Well, it's an adult. It is an adult channel. Without any further ado, g'day Joshy Fawns and Zane Robinson, Mr. Buckaroony. Mr. Buckaroony's got 200 balls that he's paid for that are going to New Guinea. How many did we pay for? 20 or 50? I can't remember. They've gone to New Guinea for the children that get kicked off into the crowd. So they've got something to play with up there as they get distributed from the flying volunteer ministry, or what is it?
He's the missionary pilot.
The missionary pilot.
I think that's what he's called. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It
Yeah,
is
that's how
great.
you bridge the gap. That's how you give alternatives rather than just you pesky kids in those skateboards.
Yeah, exactly. David Penson said he can do that, Kaz.
Okay, Dave, let's look at doing that, and I'll send a bunch of them over to you in Nam. So
Yep.
one of my destinations I need to get to is Vietnam, so I can say, like my father, I've been to Nam.
You've been wanting to for a long time. You've been saying it.
But my balls are going to get there before me.
Balls are going to get there before you. They precede you. Hi, Gav. Hi, John, Zaknich. It's nice to see you. Here's a comment. Is that okay to have a comment?
Of course it is.
Okay, from Strike W. Says, hey, Kaz and Lauren, I recently joined the channel. Welcome. And am amazed on the information you both provide. I think Kaz provides the information. I just make sure he's seen it properly because he doesn't always put his specs on. Recently passed on my assessment day and would like to know what I should focus on until Kapuka. Cheers.
Just fitness, mate. Not PFA fitness, not Kapuka fitness, but soldier fitness. Getting your 2.4 as low as you can get. Your 5 kilometres, so you know how to run 5 kilometres. Planking for as long as you possibly can. Anywhere over 8 hours would be great. You know, trying to do as many push-ups as you can, dips, chin-ups, swimming. Any one of these things that makes you feel like you're fast within your skin, not necessarily big and bulky. Okay, this is the time to give love to your family. This is the time to let the girl that thinks that you're maybe not good enough for her, to let her know, I'm sorry, baby.
Yep.
This is a limited edition. I've got to go. You know,
exactly.
Not just Olympians get medals.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Leaving town.
Yeah, leaving town. This is your last chance.
Yep, exactly.
We're going to throw a quick video on. It is beautifully made of the vehicles in trials for the Land Warfare 400 Phase 3. We're coming down to the final countdown. Can you tell I've had 2 coffees in the last hour?
You're a bit hypo.
I'm a bit hypo at the moment. But what we're going to do is we're going to put on a video. It only goes for about 1 minute and 41 seconds exactly. And what they'll give you is a bit of a heads up to the new way, mechanised and motorised, that Infantry ECN 343, unlike Kaz, who spent the vast majority of his period in uniform, walking with my pack on my back full of things that I never ended up using anyway, other than the salami, the sleeping bag, and the bloody, what else did I use a lot of? Sometimes even the umbrella for writing orders and protecting my gear from the elements.
You used too much cheese once, remember that?
I ate too much cheese and I was blocked up more than a cannon. Yep. Okay, team. Are we ready? Here we go.
Ready.
All call signs are 1-1. This is a 0 Alpha. 2 are enemy armoured vehicles on the northern and southern side of TRP4. More to follow, wait. This is 0 Alpha. A task, a destroy, a gunfire, a 3 and 3. A report when ready. 1-1 ready. Alpha ready. All call signs 1-1. This is 0 Alpha. Await. Await. A fire.
Listen. That's the delayed flight controller you listen to there. Look at that iron plate being destroyed.
We are here in the field testing
That
the
is
Redback
less
and
than a
Lynx Infantry
platoon.
Fighting Vehicles through
That
a range of
guy,
tactical
that Major Joel
scenarios that will
Sloan,
be
his
realistic to how
dad
they're
was
employed
one of
in the
my
future.
instructors, I believe, when I went through Singo, and he
Everything
looks
through
exactly
our
like him.
individual vehicle craft being conducting cresting drills, supporting each other in tactical manoeuvre, right through to conducting assaults and attacks on objectives, and also conducting defensive activities to fully
Look at
test the
that,
systems.
all from
of
inside.
the
Beautiful,
infantry
dark,
fighting
air
vehicles.
conditioned. Lovely.
The biggest thing about the infantry fighting vehicles is to allow infantry corps to contribute further to the joint land combat. The capabilities and systems on this vehicle allows the infantry to fight with the vehicle, not just from
That's
the
a
vehicle.
brake left,
It
right
allows
there.
us to move further in the battle space, under armour, with full situational awareness. Incredibly
Beautiful
proud to
film.
be here as a part of Land 400 Phase 3 at the start of the armoured infantry capability. These platforms represent a fundamental leap in capability. To be here at the start for what is going to be a vehicle that supports us for multiple generations is something that's extremely important to the team.
I'll point something out to you in a moment so you understand. You're not just looking at a range shoot there. Okay, so what does that mean to you? For those that are watching there, can we get some hands up as if to say, okay, I'm ready, Kaz. Give me an explanation on how this affects me. If I'm going to be in infantry, if I'm going to be supporting infantry, am I going to be the armoured corps? I don't even know where they fit in anymore.
Yeah, who's driving them?
Well, this is the thing. Who is going to be driving it? Is it going to be infantry call signs, which means there's only 6 troops that can get out or be dislocated from this vehicle to do defile drills, dismounted patrols, etc.? Or are we going to collapse armoured corps and bring them over to be our drivers because they're already tactical employment experts? And a lot of them have already done operational experience in Afghanistan, etc.
Yep. What would you choose?
I would rather have those guys there, so there's a limited amount of time before we have to retrain people to try and do vehicle tactics courses, employment courses, driver courses, gunnery courses, weapon, turret, data, the communications that are required before it, the battle tracking systems that are within it. I'd rather that just stay with Armoured Corps and we just do our job from in the back. The thing of this, how this affects you guys. G'day, Hussein. How you going, mate? Hassan, sorry. How this affects you is normally when a section is dismounted, that's 8 men. 8 men. I believe it should be 10 to 14 personally. And they'll get out in 2 fire teams patrolling around, covering land very, very slowly, marching order for up to 72 hours at a time. When you start this, just consider this would normally be just one section of 8 guys walking. But look at it. That is 2 vehicles in every single way, other than mobility, because naturally dismounts can go where these vehicles couldn't. Everything, the C3, the command, the control, the communications, allows instant leadership decisions to be made on the ground. These guys can survive by themselves. They can defeat almost everything that is thrown against them, where an infantry section would be prone to, the weapons effects, or even the terrain that we're in, whether it be freezing cold or whether it be boiling hot. So there is so much more than you can do as long as we don't turn our back on dismounted drills, as long as we don't forget and get skill fade of what our job is to do, and that's to dismount, to be able to surprise, to be able to completely dismount our call sign from that, to give the impression to those that look at it, that's infantry fighting vehicles. They're from Australia, goddammit. And they think that's full of foxhound elements being infantry, only to realise that those vehicles have been dislocated, and then a flanking manoeuvre, with deception, has now allowed our dismounted forces to double the footprint that we have on the ground, which is unseen to the human eye because they've owned the night and moved in maybe before these vehicles have moved forward. And then we do a pincer movement on an objective, or all of a sudden have surrounded or cut off, while being below the detection threshold. This has all occurred. There is so much more play, twice as much call sign. It's just that the cost is a lot bigger financially. That's all.
That last time we were talking about these vehicles, I think, was it these ones when Mr. Jason Harrison was in here? Yep. And he had some concerns about their ability to navigate over little bridges and that in places, in rural places and that. What about that? What about where they can go and where they can't go?
Well, this is the thing. Mechanised attract.
Yep.
Motorised have got wheels. Right. Now, those vehicles, depending on where you go, we have a thing called restricted terrain, and there's maps as part of a MACU that will tell you this is choke points within this next 20 kilometres. Choke points are normally where the vulnerability for an armoured vehicle lies. So we stop before that, we dismount forces, we push them through there, and that's where engineers can come in as well. And then we can dislodge them, or if there is an IED or mine threat at all, they take care of that, and then the armoured vehicles push through, go into I forget what it's called, a Liga, or a short halt, long halt, and then they put the guys in, they head off again. But there's very restricted terrain, which means the vehicles can't go there at all. Yep. When that occurs, that's when the infantry, again, have to diddy mow out, break left, break right, or split, and then they head up and dominate those locations. But the other thing about this, and Mr. Buckaroonie would know, is what we can do is we can get less physically prepared, fit soldiers, i.e. non-infantry soldiers, or support or civilians, and we can put them in the back of those vehicles to take them to safety. They can be used for ambulances. They can be used for transport. They can be used for communication and orders groups.
Yeah, it's almost like having a little, like a snail, a little home.
Yeah, it is.
I get it. Okay, there was a few people put their hands up because they want you to tell them, how does this relate to them?
I'll tell you how it relates to you. All the people think that this is, okay, so where are these vehicles now? They haven't even chosen which vehicle it is, Lauren. So in the acquisition process for this, it might be another 4 to 5 years before these vehicles are actually in the units, which means people right now at the School of Infantry could be doing basically only dismounted tactics for the next 4 years, for their entire career if they get out after 4 years, just as these vehicles rock in.
Yeah.
So don't think you're going to rock up and there's going to be there waiting for your team. They're still in trial.
You're going to be humping the boonies
Yep.
for a bit, I'm afraid. Tassie Devil's here.
The Tassie Devil.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
it has. That's good.
Mr. Buckaroonie's looking back to the 3.2 kilometre webbing runs.
Yep.
One of the hardest events you can do, which, pardon me, is the reason why Special Forces still do them as part of their selection process. You know, I'm not going to talk about Ian tonight. I'm going to do another video on that, Lauren, and I'm just going to remind people, and what I'll do is a reaction to my own video on who will save the brave.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be great.
Because then they're actually hearing the poem, they understand the selfishness is not there.
Yeah,
When
you
a
need
soldier falls,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, someone has lived a separate life.
Yep.
You know, I don't know what trauma feels like for different people in different backgrounds. I don't pretend to know.
No, exactly. And I don't think we can know. I think one person is very, very different than the next person.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that young folk who are even just considering joining, or even folk who aren't going to join but have respect for service folk, that we actually stop a minute and just remember what a high risk, like emotionally and mentally sort of job we're asking you to do. And you really have to have a heart for the great adventure.
Well, here's a bit of information that I'm sure that Daz would understand, Dave would understand, Mr. P would understand, Dave Pence would understand, Mr. Buckaroonie would understand, and tell you absolutely what I'm telling you now. And that is, if you want to be an Australian soldier, then what you should do is pay the most attention to the bits that really matter. It's not the job that you're going to do, it's the people that are going to be around you and what they will do for you if things go badly. The days that you need to give special focus to is Remembrance Day, is Anzac Day.
Yep.
You know, because they are the days where you actually get immersed into those that have passed before you. And if you understand the complexity of the obligation of your signature to your nation, then you'll look at it and go, that's why soldiers seem so gung-ho. That's why they're so excited. That's why they don't leave a guy behind. That's why they look so disillusioned when civilians don't seem to understand or respect what's going on.
You have this collective heart, and it's the collective, I think it's your collective adventure. You're all, you know, in this massive, great organisation that has such a rich history of sacrifice and duty. You know, I think, would you recommend young folk have a little look into the actual, anything in the history?
Josh! There's just so much history. Can we get some thumbs up for Josh, who has just joined us? You know, welcome to the channel, mate. Great to have you here.
Oh, welcome, Josh.
Hit us up with a question right now in comments so we can see what makes you you.
Yeah, exactly. So would you recommend they do a bit of, like, you know, if they're readers, read into a bit of the history?
Look, honestly, there's too much. Yeah. You know, when you read, you don't understand the context. What I'd recommend, there's a couple of shows I recommend you watch. Okay? that is Gallipoli. Arguably one of the best movies ever made. A love story between two men. And I don't mean Brokeback Mountain kind of love. What I mean is the love of Australian brotherhood, friendship, mateship. When you watch that movie, and remember, that is 40 years old, you'll go, how come they can't make movies like that anymore? And just after that, you watch The Light Horseman, and you find out that the last cavalry charge, which wasn't cavalry anyway, give us my goddamn emu plume back.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, granted by Chevelle for infantry, not for cavalry, that they did the attack at Beersheba as a last ditched effort to try and dislodge the Turks and the Germans from that location. Yes, I've been there.
Yeah, so there's a few things that they should at least know before they get there, which will help you tap into that spirit.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I say the movies is,
Understand.
one, they're fairly accurate. The character development is perfect. And the other one is you'll get a real understanding of the mood it creates, the seriousness where larrikins turn into serious individuals and understand the job is at hand. To know that there is 103,000 Australians that step forward from a population of less than 4 million, all as volunteers, you know, and that you are standing on the soil that they thought was worth dying for. Bam. That is not a turd. That is shrapnel from the western trenches of Beersheba, from the guns that were fired onto the Turkish position. Picked it up myself. You know, it's fantastic. I'll send that to a subscriber. No, I won't.
No, don't you dare. I'm gonna regret that.
I won't do that. Daz. Look, yeah. The other one is Anzacs. If you can watch the series Anzacs, it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You don't need to watch. You can watch The Odd Angry Shot again. That's fantastic.
Yeah, the Battle of Long Tan. You know, there's lots, and I think there's a few things, and I think you do learn a bit about the history, don't you, when you get there? Like going to the War Memorial.
Well, you'll go to the War Memorial when you actually go to go to Kapuka, unless you get closed down for it.
Yeah, anyone who's in school and still has the ability to travel there should absolutely go there and try and don't just look at the pretty pictures and all the war-y stuff. Just actually remember, these are humans. These are people. These are lads just like you.
Yep. Yeah. And it was never about going and hurting people.
No.
It was about not looking at people in the eye and saying, well, what reason have you got not to go? It'd be like a 17-year-old that doesn't want to play sport, wants to sit down and read a book instead. You just don't want to be left out. Mr. Bucker and his Mr. P, the century mate.
Yeah. Your background is actually making Mr. P need to do wheeze.
Well, that's okay. We'll call it discipline, Mr. P, or revenge.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Lurker.
Hey, Lurker, how you going? Mr. P. Buck has to do how not to burn your hand on hot camp oven vid. I tell you what, I reckon I've still got lost most of the feeling in my hands from picking up machine guns with bloody 200 plus rounds fired through them. You know, how many times do I have to learn that lesson?
Yeah, asbestos fingers. Yeah. Thomas White has asked, what do you think about the TV show, The Anzacs?
Loved it.
Great.
You're talking about the old one with Paul Hogan and that? Yeah, that's the one I mean.
Yeah, if you're talking about the old one, that's really good.
That was awesome. And Flanagan from that show was meant to be bigger than Mel Gibson, but he ended up being in a motorbike accident while filming in The Light Horseman. Yeah. And, he died recently.
Oh.
He was considered to be Australia's best-looking man.
Oh.
Yep. Had a motorbike accident, cut down while he was in his prime.
Oh.
You know, it was basically a vegetable for the last 20 or 30 years.
You know who else died recently?
Who?
You remember the Paul Hogan show?
Yeah. Strop?
Well, Strop died recently.
He looked like he was dying then.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know if it's true, but he used to be married to, like, Delvine Delaney or something.
Well, she was considered one of the most beautiful women of her time.
Absolutely. Anyway, we're going off on a tangent now.
Yeah, so you guys basically, when you go to infantry and these vehicles, it's going to change everything. everything, because it puts twice as many forces in the ground, lethal way beyond the ranges of the actual weapon systems that you have at the moment. It means that now the enemy, the threat force, has to put out a hell of a lot more, because now you have force multipliers that allow you to punch well above your rate. It's going to be cutting edge technology. But in saying this, you might say you prefer the Redback. You might say you prefer the Lynx. I'm not trying to be mean. You've got no idea what you're talking about. There's no difference. They're air-conditioned vehicles. They've both got similar armament. They've got the same sort of lethality. They've got the same sort of manoeuvrability. It just comes down to which one wins. Either one can be destroyed with one rocket, okay, from equivalent to a Javelin, top attack, direct attack, etc. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Apparently he died at 80, and was still married to Delvine at the end.
I wouldn't have expected that.
How lovely.
Did you know Dolly Parton has worn a wig for decades?
Yes, duh.
I didn't know that.
Haven't you ever heard of Dollywood? She's got a whole theme park where she displays all her frocks and wigs and that. I want to go there so bad.
Yeah. Patrick D. having infantry fighting vehicles is something Australia should have got 20 years ago. Well, they sort of did with APC, sort of. You know, but there's a lot of weapon systems that punch straight through an APC, but they really earned their money while they worked for Australia. We've got Strike W. He wouldn't work for the unions. He's on strike.
Yeah.
Hey, Kaz, I'd like to know your thoughts on 5RR now, days since my granddad was in the regiment in Vietnam. I'd also like to know anything about the Battle of Bimbar. He was also in that battle. Well, hats off to you. Hats off to your, sorry, my eyes are painted on, to your granddad, mate. 5RR and 7RR bookend Australia in Darwin and Adelaide. I'm not a fan. Like, the battalions are fine, but you don't want to go to Darwin and you don't want to go to Adelaide. If you want to go there to follow his footsteps, fine. I recommend only going to Townsville.
Yep.
You know, unless you absolutely have got your father's looks and he had no chance with the ladies, because there's a hell of a lot more men than what there is girls, or top quality men in Townsville, and a low amount of quality women.
Yeah,
you know, the women, sadly, have been passed around a hell of a lot more than this ball.
Yeah, you'll want an import.
You know, and they'll see you coming a miles away. So, yeah, if you've got your father's looks like I have, expect a low cricket count. It's all good. Adelaide, the land of the single mums. Go down there, put your Tinder account onto 50 metres, go into Centrelink and users to come online. I'm looking for a single mum and I've got a great paying job, and you'll be laughing.
Yeah, you'd be set there. Yeah, no worries. Keep your expectations low and you'll be right.
Yeah, always an honour to represent the Army bugling, the last post for School Anzac Day services. The bugle is the most simple instrument, but is so hauntingly beautiful.
It is indeed. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there is Dave Penson on Binbar. Yeah.
Oh, that might be worth checking out for you. Might learn more about your pop there.
Yeah, that's right. And Binbar was one of those battles with Australia and the VC, where they went into Binbar, which wasn't far from Nui Dat, and they went in there and it was all collapsed buildings and stuff. And the VC had really smartly had dug tunnels and little pillbox sort of things inside the rubble. Big Snorlax, good to have you here, mate. I'll always give you the hang five, not the devil's horns from Hollywood. Good to have you here there, Snorlax.
Yeah. Welcome. Jump on in the chat, say good day. You're a nice bunch.
Are they splitting 8-9 and sending 9 to Perth? Mate, I haven't heard any of this, Buck. I've asked some people and they said it's fake news.
Yeah. Well, I'd heard the same rumour, but then I heard from someone else and you said the same thing. So who knows? Our grapevine's pretty bad and good at the same time.
I hope they do it. I'd like it if they re-raised 4. I'd like it if they broke up 8-9. Maiden battalions. Hey, Terence, how you going? Now, that's a smart-sounding name.
Terence, it is.
If I was a woman and heard there was a guy that liked me called Terence, I'd be thinking, now there's a man that sounds like he should have a stethoscope and a leather-bound book.
It may be I would be thinking leather-bound chaps, and maybe my gaydar would go off, but that's just me.
Terence? Don't know.
No,
What do you know, Terence? Let us know, mate.
About yourself. Yeah. Nicole L has said she's got her enlistment date and she's heading in for reserves. Life and kids happen, hence the delay in heading in.
That's all right.
Or she's going to be is that chef? Cook, I suppose you mean? So much respect for all those serving, past and present.
One of the saddest jobs in the military, Nicole, is the cook. Because we never see them, so we never get a chance to say, great bloody job, you know? And some of the food you get, it's really, really good. You know, other than Rwanda, which is where I got my PTSD from, was the worst food I've ever eaten in my life. I would rather eat roadkill. It was a disgrace. We had Army Reserve cooks in Rwanda, and the food was so bad that we were actually told, oi, the next person that makes the chef's cooks cry will get charged. No. Because people are going in there and going, what is this slop? What is this shit? Sometimes people would get their food and turn around, just drop it in the bin and go and get people they didn't know to try and give them food through the fence.
Oh, what? That's terrible. I'm sure our Nicole L will do a better job.
I'm sure she will. We took a chance of getting glass put in our food over eating the food that was supplied to us in Rwanda. Oh, my God. Jason Harrison, the master sniper. For those that don't know, Jason Harrison, he is the guy behind the scenes at the 2nd Battalion, the Royal Australian Regiment, second to none, museum. He is now the historian. He done 30 years in the 2nd Battalion and 2-4 area. He is the guy behind the scenes. Now, he was a sniper. He's done multiple overseas deployments. He knows everything about being a sniper. And he also worked with JP, I believe. He loves Cactus Jacks. Aztec pie, made a mistake. Always go for the chicken fajitas. But Harry was making reference to a pack that I had. Because of my fitness, I never fell out of anything. But I also wasn't a gearhead. He would set up his equipment so that you wouldn't. So it always looked slick. It always looked great. All I used to do was pick it up, put it on my back and walk. Quite often it was on the side, you know, and it looked horrible. And it never had symmetry, so I used to call it the abomination, and it used to drive him crazy. He wanted to work on my pack just to give me some more credibility, but that was fine.
Yep.
Jarhead's here too. Quick question. As a juvenile, I was stupid and copped pretty petty charges. Did a diversion so charges got dropped and no conviction. Is it necessary for me to mention this?
Not if there wasn't a conviction, I don't think.
Yeah, I think that's it. No conviction, I think no foul.
Yeah, I think so too.
I would say, do I have to bring up juvenile convictions? Youth crime.
We might have
because youth crime is still an indicator of what you're going to be like as an adult too.
Yeah, I think you're buffering at the moment.
Okay. Look, can you just write in there, please, Lauren? Give it 2 seconds, and we'll see if it just settles. Buffering. Mr. Buckaroony.
Oh, it's not buffering for Brady.
Okay.
Then maybe it's good. Yeah, if there was no conviction, I'd say...
It's a tough one because you do need to be...
Young'uns.
You need to be open in a bit because you've got to remember sometimes they might ask you, questions and you go, no. But at the end of the day, what you sign is a legal government document. So it is important that you give yourself an out by saying, do you mean like juvenile misdemeanors as well? Because if you've got shit parents and therefore you were a child of the streets, so to speak, and had no curfew, it's only a matter of time before you get nicked for something.
It's true. It's got to do with the environment. However, then you reach a point where you're responsible to
Yep.
get yourself up there and do some, come good. So it sounds like you have. So, but I think if they ask you something that you think that's the answer to, you're going to have to be straight up with them, because we did have someone in here, maybe that was even last year, who had not been forthright about some convictions, and it ended up causing them a lot of strife.
It can cause a lot of strife. Make sure you press like now if you can hear what I'm saying.
Yeah, it looks like it's good for some folk and then just totally stopped for others.
Is this okay, yes, Mr. P?
Tell other people to refresh, Mr. P.
Refresh! Yeah, but mine is the one that says on it, error, YouTube is
Yeah.
not receiving enough.
Right. Yeah, well, the other day I refreshed my chat and it worked pretty good then after that. So, I don't know. I think everyone's on the internet, perhaps.
Yeah,
Don't
I'd say
forget
that's what it is.
Thumbs up, folks.
Yeah, a lot of it has got to do with the fact that the COVID shutdown, everyone's internet, every single room has a kid with an iPad who's pumping through whatever they're watching.
Yeah, all on Disney. Now, you've been asked this a million times again, and I'm sorry to bring it to you.
You right?
Do you recommend that folks, young men, train with weighted rucksacks?
No. Look,
Could you please explain once and for all, one more time, why?
Mr. Buckaroo would agree with this too. Guys and gals, you're going to have a graduated fitness program which is going to lead you into walking, carrying, packing, dealing with weight. Chances are you're young, your scaffolding is still growing, your body is still becoming an adult, even if you think that you're mature, your body probably is not. And so what happens is, rather than potentially strain your body, or get shin splints, or get compartment syndrome, or get lower back dramas, or collapsed arches, wait until you get issued your boots, okay, where you get told how to carry your pack, putting the heavier stuff to the bottom.
They'll tell you how to pack it and everything.
They'll
won't
do
they?
everything. And then you'll do 5 kilometres, then 7 to 10 kilometres, 15 kilometres, etc.
Exactly. You are really better off learning it from them than some random on the internet. I'd wait till you actually get there, learn from them how to pack your pack, how to do it. They will tell you how to do everything. Don't worry, you'll be micromanaged, right?
Yeah, you will. Paddy D says, hey, Kaz, I believe that Australia is getting 75 more Abrams. No. I don't know. I wouldn't imagine so. I thought, if anything, our tanks are getting close to getting CLA'd. William, you have stuff you're going to quick assess to East.
Tell him how to pack his pack.
Yeah, look, you'll get taught by the instructors. Let them have some sort of surprise on how to help you. Don't try and get all the answers here, team.
Yeah, really,
You've got people that are going to be part of the ever-changing, evolving military process, and you've got to give them the chance to actually teach you something that is current for the equipment that you will be carried, i.e. the modular body armour systems that you'll be wearing are going to be different to the fat man's webbing that we wore. Fat-shaming webbing right there.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And they'll tell you how you meant to do it,
Yeah.
Nicole L, no, we're proud of you. Keep us updated on your journey. And I love seeing you at my streams. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. Mr. Buckaroo, great testament there. Kaz, one of the 3 reasons I'm out of the army is because my back is smoked. Lumbar spondylosis. Okay, but that was because I had some pretty big girlfriends too, and I treated them like they were 40 kilos because they deserved the love too, and that's one of the reasons my back is stuffed. But kids, I did 20 years in the army and I have just had to give up work because of a stuffed back. This is Buckaroo. I ran with packs, etc. for 20 years, not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. And then look, I think Nathan seems to be ignoring you saying about training with things, because he's even got a battle belt, whatever that is, 2 kilogram on each side and 1 kilogram on the back. Do you reckon I should take it off?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it, mate. I wouldn't do it.
No, I think it's a risk, right?
Well, I'll give you an example. The reason why, even when you go to the gym, I laugh at people when you see them doing chin-ups, dips, all that sort of stuff with a weight between their legs, because they don't even know why they're doing it. the only reason why you weight things is because you're so goddamn fast at it, or you're so goddamn strong at it, that what you're trying to do is bring a rep range from beyond 12 reps, which is muscular endurance, to bring it down to hypertrophy, which is between 4 and 12 reps, 4 and 10 reps. So you're trying to bring a rep range back down to a different energy system to be able to cause a different manipulation of your muscular system. Same deal, you can add weight down so you can only do 1 to 4 when you're going for absolute power.
It's all right. They're not listening. They're totally ignoring you, and they're just talking about how they're going to wear their weights while they train. So that's on them.
Mate, what would I know about it? I've run over 3,000 sessions. I see guys like you come in all the time.
Yeah, exactly. What would Mr. Buckaroo know? What would any of you know about it? It kind of gets me a little bit. You come here for advice. You get advice, and it's not what you're after. Yep. You're not really after advice. You're actually just after someone to, play armies with you or something. I don't know what you're after.
Look, team, all we're here to do is guide you to what happens. If you hurt yourself through overtraining, through incorrect training, whatever, you can go and watch a YouTube channel if you want of someone that tells you the way to do it that's never done the job.
Exactly. I agree with you there, Joshua Fawns. I think you're spot on with why they're doing that. Yeah.
What's that? Who is it saying they're not going to listen?
Then Nathan Pinto is absolutely not listening. He is talking while you're giving him his explanation to that answer. He's talking about the weights and in chat about how they're...
Nathan, if you're going to give bad advice to people, mate, I'd rather you fuck off, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, because you've got Mr. Buckaroo here giving you the advice. You've got Kaz here giving you... These guys have actually lived it. They know what they're talking about. And if you feel like you know better before you've even done the job, then...
We've just said that we're both broken from doing just the career. Why would you want to do it incorrectly from the start?
Yep.
Some people have watched people that play it being tough guy on CrossFit and all that sort of stuff. You go, that's okay if you're going to do it for 6 months, 1 year, and then realise you're not fit enough and fall out. But if you're going to do this for a job, for a career, and have a sustainable career and not be a cripple by the time you're 40, you need to listen and do things right.
Yeah, it's for your own good. I mean, you either trust what Kaz has to say from his, over 2 decades of, experience, or you think you know better. Strike W has a question.
Yep.
If you had a choice between joining SIGs or engineers, which one would you pick and why?
I would go to SIGs. I prefer the mateship of engineers, but I don't like how hard they work. I like the signals because they always made the best jaffles outside armoured corps. And it's more, I've explained this one before, the SIGs is a more serious bunch, more mature, more responsibility. They are part of the C3 command, communications and control. They are vital, which means that you're normally in a team of 2 or 3 within a detachment. Mr. Buckaroo was the squadron sergeant major there. He knows all about this stuff.
You'd be the Jaffle King.
You'll have a vehicle which is set up for either VHF, UHF, HF, etc., or a combination of all battle management systems, all that sort of stuff. But you don't really have the mateship and the fun that you would get in engineers. But the engineers work goddamn hard. So do you want to be around people that work really hard, that always look greasy, dirty, filthy, no regimentalness about them, love a beer, love a steak, and just they're terrific guys, and they get a hell of a lot of tickets too in construction, heavy vehicles, etc. Or do you want to go for small team, nerdy kind of guy? Don't go there if you've got an attention deficit disorder, or you'll have a real lot of trouble.
Exactly. He's leaning towards SIGs anyway. That was Strike W.
They're both awesome corps.
Yeah, Buckaroo's right. John Zachnich, you're exactly right. There would be well over 100 years of experience in amongst you all there in the chat with Kaz. Absolutely.
Hey, Nathan.
Well, but we get a lot of folk from like 12 all the way up to Mr. P.
It's not even just that. It's just the fact that a lot of people don't understand that there is no one in the army that would get as many phone calls as probably I get.
That's true.
Other than people that are in DVA, from injured soldiers who got hurt because of one incident And they end up calling me going, Kaz, what do? I'm in Kapuka. I've been back squatted. I'm in Singleton. I've been back squatted. I'm at Steel Barracks, engineers. I've been injured. What am I going to do? They're offering me this. They're offering that. I've been out of training for 8 months. My back is blown. I'm about to have an operation on it. Oh, my God, I'm 22. My life is over. This happens to me all the time. So I've got to be really straight down the line when I say to people, be very careful, train properly. Fast is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yep, exactly. And you know, you guys give good advice. It's only in your best interests, everybody. They're just giving you the good oil, and sometimes medicine doesn't taste very nice when it goes down, but it's good for you.
Is that true, Mr. Bucko? SIGs originally came from engineers. I know engineers originally came from, in the Roman days, came from the dual purpose of infantry. When you weren't fighting, you were actually building roads. And those roads are still in place today in England.
Yeah, Mr. He says Mr. P was in the Boer War.
No one comes back from being injured better than Dave D. He's had injuries that are worse than some of those from the Somme and has managed to bounce back onto that one leg and succeed.
His bone bristle, yeah, and it's healed. He had to work hard though, and safe. He had to work safe to get it healed and better. Patience.
Mason Thomas. 2 first names, always confusing. What's your name? Thomas. What's your surname? Thomas. Ah! Hey, mate, what do you reckon the odds are of being allocated to 6 or 8, 9 after ROBC? The missus works corporate in Brisbane would make most sense. Mason Thomas, I'd say you've got a bloody great chance, mate. A bloody great chance. Yep. Normally what happens when you get to infantry and you go to ROBC, there is a chance at RMC you will go from there and be at your actual battalion for months before you actually go on to your ROBC course, your Regimental Officer Basic course, which I used to be an instructor on for many years. You will find out your battalion allocation at RMC, not at Singo. So just make sure you let the right people know that you have mitigating circumstances, a reason to be in Brisbane, but also understand that they may say, doesn't matter, Mr. Mason. You know, this is Army needs. And it's even harder when you're an officer. You know, but if they like you and you're doing a good job, it should be fine, mate.
Yeah.
You'll have career management guidance while you're at RMC, mate. You'll get a chance to plead your case. Absolutely. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Exactly. Yeah, Brady said he can make a jaffle iron out of 2 old EH hubcaps and some fencing wire.
I believe it. What is Dave saying? Is it true SIGs were called scalies because the batteries leaked onto their backs and made them scaly? I've never heard that one.
Yikes, I hope not. That's like nightmare fuel.
Yeah. Well, the Mozzie repellent that we used to get used to come in a plastic bottle. And when you put it on, we used to put it on in winter at the School of Infantry, you know, as a warm weather, what would you call it, alternative to putting a jumper on when you weren't allowed to put a jumper on.
Oh, really?
But what would happen is you'd end up getting blisters from the chemicals that were inside the bottle that could also leach through plastic. So I don't...
Being sprayed with... What the heck was it? Who knows?
I used to be black.
Yeah, what the heck was it? Who knows?
That Mozzie repellent, I don't know what it is, but it'd be more dangerous than what the bloody vaccine is.
Yeah.
So I can't complain about too much.
You guys have probably had much more dangerous chemicals put into you than the vaccine.
True. Mason, good. The most dangerous thing I've ever had put in me was the doctor's fingers when I got a prostate check in bloody East Timor.
Here we go. Yikes.
He was the biggest Fijian eater, a hand like a catcher's mitt.
And you'll never forget your moment that you shared with him, will you?
Yep. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Oh, I can't even read that out, Mr. Buccaroony.
We were called Chooks, okay, over the regiment. CUNTS, yep, got ya. Yeah.
Chooks. Hi, Guardian.
Mr. Buccaroony, you've probably seen what's going on at the moment with our lost brother You know, Ian Turner, or some of the things that have been said in the last few days in the inquiry. We're not going to go into it on this stream, but let's just say some people said some pretty horrible things. Defective or things out of context, I might say. If you actually spoke to the person, it might absolutely make sense what they said, but said it in a way, in a place that you don't get an exit ramp from.
It's true, may have just been, but some things, you know, context or not, you just shouldn't be saying them because, good grief.
I'm going to say one here for the young fellas too. Mr. Bucko was a copper. I just watched a video in the USA. Young dude, very young dude, in a Corvette, went to a car meet, one of those stupid things that young guys do, and went 140 miles an hour down the road to try and impress all the guys and girls that were watching. Fast forward, guess what? Going to the jail for the rest of his life. He ran into another car, killed 3 pedestrians, and hurt a shitload of other ones, all trying to impress the guys and the girls by doing a fast drive-by. When you're young, you can't drive a car very well. You don't have very good peripheral vision. You're nowhere near the driver you need or think you are, and the car can be a lot more elite than what your abilities are. This kid was probably a lovely kid who's thrown all of his life away and destroyed families all around him by simply trying to stand out in a way that he probably couldn't do so with his conversation.
Trying to be like Fast and Furious or something.
It was devastating.
Yeah. That's actually a really good reminder, Mr. Buccaroni, that you gentlemen, especially those of you who are, I'm not sure what the recommended age is, those of you who are over 40, 45 should probably go get your prostate checked.
It's always one day older than what I am now.
Yeah, you should. Come on. You got to do it. Men's health is important. You guys do not take good enough care of your actual physical health when you get older.
Yeah, it is true.
You're worth it.
I know enough people that eat salad.
Yeah. So
Tom Delaney.
Is go get yourself checked.
How you going, Tom Delaney? Great to have you here, mate. How are we going with these likes, team? Do you like or don't you? If you don't like, don't like. If you do like, whack a like. I don't even know if it makes any difference.
Yeah, there was a new sub back there.
I know.
Defect Gaming.
Defect Gaming.
Yep.
That's a quandary, that name.
Yep. What sort of games do you play?
I wish that I had time to play games. I love them.
We like games. We like games, so we like to hear about your games that you're playing.
Yeah. How long can you go without sex before you become a virgin again?
I don't know. I reckon we'd both nearly be there.
I think I'm there.
You think you're there?
Yeah.
I'm not far behind.
They can do a urine test now. Wakey vids. Is that real or is that fake news?
Really? That'd be good.
They never gave me that bloody option.
They need to make it an easier test so you guys go in and do that. I don't know, but that's good news, if it is.
They kept treating me like the last bit of Kentucky gravy in the bucket.
Yeah. Mr. P reckons his doctor still wants his wedding ring back.
Yeah.
Gosh, the Navy doctor does free checks. Dave D.
Yeah, but Dave met him on Tinder, so what do you expect?
Yeah.
Carl P.
Yeah. Nicole King's saying it's a blood test now too. So, and Carl P's acknowledging that. Yep, he got no finger up his clacker. It's just a test.
But you've got to get a colonoscopy anyway, and everyone deserves.
No,
everyone deserves the colonoscopy prep.
The drink.
Everyone deserves that drink that smells and tastes like trauma.
The barium that you have to drink or whatever it is. Yeah, nope. You're welcome to that.
Mr. P reckons he's dried up. Hell, I hear you, bro.
Good grief, Kaz the incel. He's not an incel, JP. That's rich coming from you downstairs in the basement.
Hey, Nathan was saying, I've read on the forums that recruiters often look for issues with colour perception. Absolutely they do, mate. Colour perception, you can't join combat corps at all if you have any sort of colour blindness, mate. They'll tell you that directly. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And you can always wear glasses or get like a laser surgery, for your actual eyesight, whereas I don't think there's any easy fix for colour blindness.
Mr. Buckaroony. How old is Mr. Buckaroony when he still thinks that King's Cross is a thing? That's now the LGBT sector.
Yeah, that's why he's telling you to go down there and get your prostate checked.
Shout yourself a trip to King's Cross with our Patreon money, mate. Do you know why I'd never go to a lady of the night? Because I'm nervous that I'd be that guy that goes, that's it, I'll come once a month. You know, but before you know it, you're going, fortnight. I meant fortnight. I mean week. I mean...
Yeah. How about every second day?
Where are you? Where are you?
Aren't you my girlfriend?
I'm getting jealous. Question for Kaz and team. What made you go Army, mate, not Navy or Air Force? I'd never considered the Air Force. To me, there's only one job in the Air Force, and that's pilot. You know, because that's what I think of Air Force. When I think of Navy, I think of warships. When I think of Army, you know, I think of infantry. You know, everyone to their own. But my dad was in the Army. I grew up in Army villages. They don't exist now. Where every single house was someone in the Army. Where the school was full of soldiers' kids. You know, so I really didn't have a choice. I'm born on Anzac Day. Yeah. Hey, Mason. Good to have you here as a member, mate. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much. Nutsu Cow, which means the White Warrior. Exactly. He was kicking the wall, and it was coming down all around him.
We love this.
Don't fight him. You're fucking crazy. My league, that fucking... I haven't seen this name before. Finger licking good unless someone's changed their name. Now I'm thinking of the Kentucky drumstick, which is not as good as my air fryer drumsticks. 10 minutes one side, season all. Flip them, 4 minutes.
They look delicious.
They were delicious.
Have a little cookbook thing going on. They look delicious. We're still waiting for your garlic sauce too, by the way.
Well, that's true too, but I haven't cooked it since then, so I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I think a picture of the bloke who was colourblind and he was going to artillery. I don't see how, because they're using, they've got to be able to do plotting boards, manual plotting boards, as well as using the computers, just like they have to with mortars in infantry battalions. And we have to be able to read maps, the contour intervals. We have to be able to read, pardon me, and differentiate under torchlight the difference between the colours that are on a map, which is a graphical representation of a portion of the Earth's surface. If you can't do that, we can't just go GPS. You know, people's lives are in danger when you've got call signs moving beside call signs, thinking they're the only call sign in a location. If someone goes a little bit skew-if, I've nearly had a gunfight with another section of Australian soldiers where I was the lead section, and we didn't realise we'd been given a mousetrap, which means you've been given a border crossing permission into another tactical area of operations, and it had been pissing down for a week. We were covered in sweat. We were covered in, we'd been rained on. It was 40 degrees. The humidity was there. We were knackered, and we had to get to our disembarkation point. And we got to this area, walk into a village, and we saw gunfighters coming back the opposite way towards us. They deployed, we deployed, and it was only the fact that the rules of engagement were there's something that doesn't smell right here. Someone yelled out, and Indonesians' heads aren't as big as Gronks. And we realised that there was a guy from our own battalion who was in a location that didn't know we were coming, and it was almost a blue-on-blue, friendly-on-friendly assault. Because if those shots had started off, it wouldn't have finished until someone visually had realised the person they were shooting at looked weirdly like another Australian soldier. So those little things can happen all the time.
There you go. Good night, Drunk Aussie. Good night, Nicole L.
Drunk Aussie. I'm off to bed, Kaz, Lauren and team. Have a good night. Hey, Drunk, I need to talk to you, mate. I wanted to have a conversation with you. Can you message Dean Caswell on Messenger? I'll look for it. Can you use your name as Drunk Aussie on there? Because I don't even know what your first name is.
Yeah.
And let me know. We'll swap numbers and we'll sort it out, mate, because you're part of the family, mate. We're here to help.
He's part of the family over there on my channel too. He's great. So's Nicole L. Good night, guys.
Yeah. Good night, mate. Good night, Jim Bob. Finger licking good. He wasn't fully colourblind, to clarify. Okay, he failed 2 out of 3 colour perception tests, apparently.
Right. I think there's different degrees of colour blindness. Mr. P, you're staying up late tonight.
Yes, he's good to go.
Yeah. Maybe he took one of those blue pills that Mr. Buckaroony was talking about.
He could have. I've taken one of those. It made no difference.
Good grief.
So I ate the rest of the packet and it made no difference.
Is that because it's been so long?
This is not a microphone.
No.
Hey, Case, because of COVID and Brizzy, I had to do my psychological and interview online. I don't understand how they can even do that.
I don't know how that would work.
I was wondering on what are the things that wouldn't allow me in the ADF for my medical. That'd be if you had hemorrhoids. That would be if you had bad back scoliosis. It could be flat feet. It could be colour blindness. It could be asthma. It could be shin splints. It could be compartment syndrome. It could be anything to do with a compromised system in any way. You know, they will give you the thorough checkout, mate. I hope you're not concealing something from them. Because they will find it, man. Hernia as well, that can happen. And a lot of those things aren't a permanent. No, you can't, unless what it is permanent. What it is get it fixed, get some new medical evidence, put in an appeal, and then you should be good to go.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm typing in the chat. Sorry, I was neglecting you. I apologise. Sorry, I was having a joke with Nicole. Yeah.
Yeah, if you find that you need more than just these streams, something more personalised for you, bam, jump on Patreon. The link is right there. Join up and you'll be on this phone. From there, we have one-on-one conversations that normally go for 20 minutes to an hour, depending on what you need, the scale of your dilemma, or whether you can get me off that bloody phone, and I will get you through one-on-one. You'll have a solution one way or another, positive or negative, that at least gives you a chance of being closer to your goal.
Yeah, and it seems to help an awful lot of people.
It does.
Yeah, and it's great to be part of the Patreon anyway, because the money goes to helping lots and lots of folks.
It does, like 50 footballs here going to children.
Yeah, paid for a veteran's groceries the other day.
That was great. When I went and bought up this, not this footy, thank you, Mr. P. When I went and got these tubes, and miraculously, if you want them, you've got to get in early, team, because people are actually going in and buying up the store whenever they turn up. I went before the cock had crowed, so to speak, and basically what occurred was I rocked up there, and there was a gentleman who had a hat on. He had his ICB, Infantry Combat badge. I wear my medals on the left. So does he. He had his medals on. This old man, you know, was the only person in the shopping centre other than the workers and me. And I look over and he's just standing there like he'd been hit by a magpie. And I'm going, what's going on with this guy? And they said, oh, his key card's not working. And I went, well, it's his bloody lucky day, isn't it? Because not only is my morale up because I've just got a bag of tricks, a box of tubes, but I'm a veteran too. I said, excuse me, mate, you got no dramas here. Your money's no good here. I'll pay for that. And the ladies took me over to the other counter and I paid for all his groceries from Patreon / the Kaz Express. And this bloke just could not get over the fact that someone had gone out of their way, paid for all his groceries and said, you're okay to leave, mate. Your stuff's been covered. So thank you very much, team. It was amazing.
Yep. Yaros wants some FaceTime with you.
Yeah. Kaz, when do we start the video one? Okay. Yeah. So I'm also going to be doing, if you've got your phone, I potentially set it up like this. Don't just hold it in front of your mug, you know. And what I'm willing to do is do Zoom call sessions with those on Patreon, so that there's actually context and facial expressions that allow you to understand either the gravity, the
personal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit more personal for you, which allows your partner, your parents, if they're over your shoulder, to be able to share that moment and ask questions as well.
Yep, and no duck pics. Remember, it's not Raoul.
No pool cleaner there.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll put that video up tomorrow or the next day in Patreon to let you know. And I'll pin that always at the top so people understand the most important thing you need to know is I'm not going to chase you when you're on Patreon. You need to come to me. Because we've got 130 people at the moment, who are on here, who are fighting for a conversation, an appointment, so to speak. It's important that, that you keep trying. Because naturally, you might be saying, Kaz, I've been trying to call you, but maybe so have 37 others.
Yeah. And while we're doing, and also, please bear in mind that Kaz has a life also. He has friends who need his time. He has a little girl who needs his time. He has family who needs his time. He has stocks that need his time. So he has a life also. And while we're talking about doing a bit of Patreon housekeeping, how do you like them to? Do you like them to send you a text first with, "Hey, this is," and their YouTube name?
Always send a text with your name naturally, and also your YouTube handle. Because then I know exactly who I'm talking about, and I sort of have a little bit of an understanding of your personality too by then, and it sounds more familiar to me. And always send me a text first rather than just call, because at the moment I've been homeschooling my daughter, and I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring you.
Yeah.
When you send a message, I look at the message, and I go, okay, I won't look at it until I'm ready to respond to it. So I make sure that I haven't accidentally made it look like, okay, I've checked that, and then don't get back to you.
Yeah, and Dave Penson's right. Don't forget to wear trousers when you're Zooming with Kaz.
Mr. P, that's not my beret, that one there, mate. But that is the rifle green beret of the 343, the Royal Australian Regiment team.
Yep. We're going to be...
did his online. Yeah, Tom, I'll never understand how they can do these things online. It really doesn't make any sense to me at all. Just like it doesn't make sense when I see 50 people, in events in the Olympics that are getting around, tackling each other, rolling all over each other, running beside each other, breathing in each other's face, competing, and then they get off and they're not even allowed to shake hands at the medal ceremony with their mask on. None of this makes sense. None of it. But I've got to pretend that it's not a big deal because there's so many people are goddamn psychos.
Yeah. Let's just go with the flow. What are we going to do? Oh, what can you do? There's not much we can do. So,
okay, Brycey. Okay, Brycey, you say I'm definitely going to be getting your Patreon because I'm going to finish school in a year, and you're a walking piece of knowledge that I'll need. Take your time. Don't jump on there yet. Yeah. Okay, you still need to go well in your school. Make your actions make believers of your family, of your friends, and those girls that were saying no because he was a skater boy. He said, "See you later, boy." They need to know the man that you can be, and they'll know that when they see you getting fit, doing well at school, when you start to turn into the adult, into a man, someone that can take responsibility, someone who's focused on their future. So don't worry about the Patreon now. There's no rush. Okay, but when you're ready, come on over.
Yeah, do, because it's really good. It's great to be a part of.
Yeah. To me, it's a weird thing, Tom Delaney. If they were seriously about assessing someone, it has to be face-to-face to see the cut of someone's jib. How did they walk in the room? What were they wearing? What was their expectation? How did they answer a question? How long did they take? Was there something weird about their body language?
Hang on, we've got PK dishing out some wisdom, so I've just got to scroll back and...
PK, one of our favourite chewing gums.
Absolutely so, and AK, of course, say good day to AK. And he was responding to Strike W, who said, "Hey, Kaz, life advice question." Yep, that's our speciality, isn't it, Raoul?
Yep.
Okay, what should I do? There's this girl that has been on and off with me lately and confused whether I should leave it and was annoyed at me with my dream of joining the ADF.
I'd get one good night out of her, or maybe two, and I'd get rid of her. You've already said she's on and off. If she wants to play with the way that you want to actually look after your family for potentially the next 40 years,
exactly.
It's going to get 50 times worse when she's got access to your bank account and you're outfield for 6 weeks or 6 months.
Yep.
Don't make the mistake early.
And please you take care of the contraception just until you leave, okay?
The biggest financial mistake you'll ever make in your life is not buying an overpriced car or buying an overpriced house. It is the partner, male or female, that you choose in life, because when that all goes to shit, you lose your ability to pair with the opposite sex.
Yep.
And also you will more or less lose everything financially that you've built up either to them or on a lawyer.
And even emotionally, no one goes into a relationship, I don't think, to not nice people to see it fail. So, yeah, I think PK's giving you good advice there, and he is a dad, grown-up son who's made it into the army, so I would be listening to his advice if I was you.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. Have you got much more tonight?
No, I might answer 2 more questions and we'll get out of here.
Okay, fine. Let's
Let's answer
some.
Nathan's under Nicole King's heart there. Hello, Nicole King.
Yeah,
The King of Queens.
she is.
Can you read out Nathan's there, because my eyes are starting to pack it in.
Yeah, I thought they might be. Kaz, I know how you said that they don't care about your hair because they'll cut it off anyway during the use session.
Yep.
But I was wondering whether that was an actual factor of how they'll judge you.
What I'd do is I would turn up with because it's a job interview. You've got to remember that.
Job interview.
It is a job interview when you turn up. Okay. And they will look at that and might be thinking, look at this ragtag. If you had a suit on and you were well-dressed, collared shirt, tie, but your hair was absolutely Rastafarian, and they could say, what's the go with the hair? You go, this is the deal, sir. Can I call you? What do you want me to call you, sir? Okay, because I don't know any better and I'm trying to be respectful. I understand that you're going to take every hair off my head pretty much. So I want to make it as enjoyable as an experience for the barber as I can by having the most splendid hair I can, because it might be the most hair I have in my life if I stay in forever.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I want to grow it out and really see what I can do and get a couple of photos before you guys take it for the rest of my life. And I'd love that. I'd go, good on ya. This guy's got a sense of humour. Love a good larrikin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think, but do treat it like a job interview. Don't just rock up in your tracky decks and that. Do make sure you dress nicely. I'll tell you who scrubs up nice. Our Dave. I still think he looked lovely in that suit. Didn't he look lovely all done up?
He looked good.
Yeah.
He looked good.
Our Tom of the Jungle scrubbed up nice.
He did.
Scrubbed up nice.
I wonder if he still got the diary we gave him before he left.
I bet you he has.
You know, Carl P. has also turned himself into a specimen.
Yeah, he is a specimen indeed. He's a lovely looking man.
Lives on the rooftops like Lionel Richie, dancing on the ceiling. Guys and gals, I think that we'll do a little bit of a, what do we call it? We'll do a bit of a summary for those that got in a little bit late. And basically what this is 343 in comfort. And that is whether we go for the Redback, whether we go for the Lynx, dime a dozen, they're the same as each other pretty much. Cosmetic differences here or there makes absolutely no difference to the soldier's experience in the rear. I didn't mean in the rear. You're going to be in an air-conditioned vehicle that is fast, protective, lethal, right? And you're going to be leaving in the vehicle doing less and less dismount than you've ever done before. That doesn't mean you don't have to be ready physically to get out, brake left, brake right, sprint, split, fight beside the vehicle, the second road wheel. That's the way we do it, to stay behind the guns. You will still have to be as fit as you've ever had to be, right? But you're going to be in a position where you are levels above, in some ways, the capability we were able to do in the past, because you're going to hit the ground fresh, ready to go. Shelter from the rain. Don't you go out in the rain.
Your singing's just getting better. I know that's how Mr. P's made it through this whole stream, because you're singing.
Well, let's watch this video one more time to say goodnight to those and understand this is your future if you join an infantry or supporting them.
Yeah, but not straight away.
Not straight away.
Good night, Nicole.
All call signs are
See you later,
1-1.
King of Queens.
This is a 0 Alpha. 2 enemy armoured vehicles on the northern and southern side of TRP4. More to follow, wait. This is 0 Alpha. A task, a destroy, a gunfire, a 3 and 3. A report when ready. 1-1 ready. Alpha ready.
That looks a lot scarier than four guys walking along.
Await. A fire.
Watch the penetration on that plate.
We are here in the field testing the Redback and Lynx infantry fighting vehicles through a range of tactical scenarios that will be realistic to how they're employed in the future. Everything
I was there for
through
the start of the
individual
Land
vehicle
400
craft
project.
being, conducting cresting drills,
It's been going for
supporting
well over
each
10
other in
years.
tactical manoeuvre, right through to conducting assaults and attacks on objectives, and also conducting defensive activities to
Look at
fully
that.
test the systems of the infantry fighting vehicle.
Feel sorry for the enemy, they've got no chance.
The biggest thing about the infantry fighting vehicles is to allow infantry corps to contribute further to the joint land combat. The capabilities and systems on this vehicle allows the infantry to fight with the vehicle, not just from the vehicle. It allows us to move further in the battle space under armour with full situational awareness